right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Foodie Filmmaker Podcast. Your host, Louis, is back in the studio. Oh, yeah. All right, so today I am a little bit tired. It's been quite a day. I've been shooting, I've been editing. There's just a lot of things going on. So I am kind of tired, and it is during the afternoon today, actually, surprisingly, because most episodes, actually, the majority of the episodes, I usually film them either in the morning or sometime midday, but right now it's evening time. It's around 5 o'clock right now. And so I've been doing some work here around Pasadena. As a matter of fact, I stopped by one of my clients, Makuti. This is what we're going to be drinking today because I had no access to any energy drink. And some tea is probably the most I can do around here. So, tea it is. And by the way, if any of you guys, fellow foodies, influencers, bloggers, whatever you want to call yourselves, if you guys want to collaborate with Makuti, the location here in Pasadena, let me know. Send me a DM and I'll go ahead and get that scheduled for you if you want to try these amazing drinks. They have some really good drinks, milk teas, fruit teas, whatever you want. This is actually a milk tea. Well, actually, I would say this is more of just a tea, and it's got the cheese foam on top. So it kind of, I guess you can call it a milk tea. After the foam kind of melts, it makes the whole drink kind of taste a little milky and stuff. So I guess you can kind of say that, but it's a pretty good drink, and they have amazing drinks. So if you guys want to come and try them, and get yourself some free drinks in exchange for some content, just let me know, and go ahead and set that up for you guys. But other than that, let's go ahead and get started with today's episode. As I said, I'm a little tired, but I still want to get these episodes, as consistent as possible, and so I'm gonna do my best, even if I have to keep them a little bit shorter. If you guys saw the last episode, actually, it was a lot shorter than most of them, so I'm gonna try to keep that momentum going and keep them short, simple, concise, nothing too extreme, nothing too crazy, just to do what's needed in order to get an episode up and running on YouTube. So today I've got two topics that I want to talk about. They're pretty major topics, so I think these two topics will pretty much be enough to take up today's episode. So one of them is going to be about ghosting. So what do you do when, let's say, you reach out to a restaurant, or you reach out to a fellow foodie in order to collaborate with them, or maybe you reach out to a fellow foodie in order to have them come to your restaurant to visit your client, right, and do a collaboration that way, or whatever the case may be. Reach out to a restaurant owner. You're trying to establish a collaboration for yourself, or whatever the case may be, right? The point is, you're reaching out to somebody in order to get something out of them, and they just won't get back to you. Or maybe you initiate the conversation, and somewhere down the line, halfway in, they just disappear, right? They just stop responding. You start sending more and more follow-up messages, and perhaps they just leave you unseen, or they just don't even open them at all. So what do you do in these cases, right? So how do you handle that? And then the second topic I want to talk about is the charging part. So I've personally seen, like, from my end, as far as like being a social media manager and me reaching out to other foodies and influencers, I've seen the ridiculous pricing that is out there. Like, seriously, there's some foodies out there, and I've reached out to you. So believe me, if you're one of those influencers that has gave me your rate and I haven't had you come to any of my restaurants, that's because I thought your pricing was absurd. It was just ridiculous. It was beyond just belief, and there is just no justification, at least from my part, that really justifies the fact that you're charging this much. There really isn't any key factors. There isn't really anything that's convincing me or that's selling me on the idea that you're worth that much. Neither is the quality of your content. The most I can probably see is your following, but then I check your engagement, and the views that you're getting don't really match up to the number of followers you have. And Yeah, so some of you guys are charging ridiculously. And some of you guys are even charging like some of you guys I feel like you shouldn't even like you haven't even earned the right to charge and you're already charging. Like I feel like you just have nothing. Like you have absolutely no value as far as like any sort of value that could really demand any monetary compensation on the part of the restaurant or on my behalf as a social media manager. Like you just haven't earned it. You haven't worked hard enough in order to have that value that you can provide in order to be charging any sort of monetary gain. So we're going to be talking about those two topics. So sit tight and let's go ahead and get into it. So the first topic, right? So what do you do when you get ghosted? So let's go ahead and break it down. So let's first talk about restaurants. So you as a food influencer, blogger, like I said, whatever name you want to give yourself, you reach out to a restaurant, right? You reach out through the DM, so you send an email, you reach out through Instagram, through TikTok, through X, through whatever social media platform, right? Or you do it through email. You reach out, you write your whatever your pitch is, whatever your opener is, whatever you want to call it, whatever the initiator is. So maybe you introduce yourself. You say, "Hey, my name is this, and I'm a creator." The one I've seen the most is the standard template that I usually see, which is like, "Hey, my name is this. I'm a creator here in the area of Los Angeles or whatever area, Orange County, and I specialize in content creation, and I've worked with these many restaurants, and I have experience with photography and video. I like to explore the opportunity to be able to work with you and see if I can, really boost your awareness out in the world, right? If I could increase your engagement, if I could, make an impact on your social media platforms through my content, right? And that's basically the gist of it. And then obviously there's some modifications, obviously, if you're going to be charging or not. So, the obviously it goes different ways, depending on what kind of approach you're going for. So let's just say that right now your only approach is that you're trying to set up a collab, like a standard one that you're not charging anything, right? All you're really asking for is for the food to be free. Basically, you want to be compensated with food. In exchange, you're going to provide whatever, a reel, some pictures, a static post, a carousel post, some stories, whatever the case may be. You have your set of content already good to go, right? And so you reach out, you write your thing, right? You send them your pitch, and then all of a sudden, for the most part, this is usually where it ends. Like some restaurants won't even open it, so you'll just go unnoticed. Some restaurants will open it, but then they'll just not respond to you, and some will just. And then some of them will actually respond, but and then we can talk about that. But so what happens when they don't respond at all? They don't open it at all, or they open it but they leave you on scene. So if they don't open it at all, that means that they're probably not active on that social media platform. So what I would suggest is, first of all, just in general, never take it personally. Never think that this is a personal thing where they're like, "Oh, like I just don't like you, so I'm not going to respond to you because I just don't like you. I just don't like your content," which could be the case. It could be the case. I'm not saying that that's impossible for it to happen, but never think of it that way, because that's an approach that's really going to keep you stagnated. It's not going to help you move forward. And the thing is, you always want to try your best with every single place. You want to try to really get their attention. You obviously, at the end of the day, you want to get a response. Even if the response at the end of the day is very direct and they tell you, "You know what, right now we're not taking in any influencers," or, "We're not interested in collaborating right now," or something like that. But at least you want to get some sort of response. So if you don't get a response, I always want to encourage you as a food influencer to keep trying. So that's usually the mentality that I want you to keep. So having a mentality that they hate you or that they dislike you or something like that, that's going to stop you from taking more action, because now you're thinking that they don't like you for some reason. And so now you're just not going to want to continue trying, because in your head, you're like, well, they don't like me. Why should I even continue pressing? Why should I continue trying to get their attention? Why should I continue trying to get the collaboration if at the end of the day, they're just ignoring me? They're not paying attention to me. They're not responding. They're ghosting me, whatever, right? So never take that mentality. Always take the mentality that, hey, perhaps in this case, like I'm saying, they're not opening it. It could be that they're just not active on that social media platform. So in that case, if they're not responding there, what you can do is try a different platform. So try, if you send your message on Instagram, try something else. Try TikTok, try Facebook, try email. You could even try going directly to the restaurant and see if you can talk to the owner or talk to the manager. Maybe the manager can connect you to the owner, and that way you can speak directly to the owner and let them know about what you're trying to do. If you're able to reach out to another foodie, like maybe there's another foodie who knows about that place, or you've seen on their page that, okay, that foodie has gone to that place and they've done a video for them, or they've done some sort of content for them, then maybe they can connect you with the owner, whoever is the person in charge of being able to get you that collab, and talk to them and get yourself connected that way. And also, try to engage in their platforms, because sometimes, for some reason the messages just don't get through. They're not able to see it in their inbox, like it stays in the hidden folder, or it's just in the other folder, right? In the request, it goes into the request, and so sometimes they don't open those folders and stuff, and so they just won't see it there. So you can go ahead and go into their posts and start liking their posts, and maybe leave a few comments there, saying about how good the post is, or comment about whatever the post is about. So say like, oh, this plate looks delicious, or this really looks good, or I want to try that, or I can't wait to go, I can't wait this, that, right? And in one of those posts, you could even let them know, be like, hey, I sent you a DM. That's a very standard one that you can do, where you can just, let them know through the comments, and they'll get a notification, that you sent them a DM, and they might go and actually check, and that's how you can get noticed. So there's that approach. If they're not opening your messages, they're just not doing anything at all with them, try those approaches. If they do open it and they leave you unseen, there's a few things you can do here. First of all, what I like to do is give it a little bit of time. So obviously, if you just send the message and maybe like an hour later they opened it and they left you unseen, don't go in there and try to send another message like right away, right after they just saw it. Like wait a good day or two, just to make him, think that you have other options as well, like this, and you should have other options too. Like this is a good thing to keep in mind, is to never just reach out to one restaurant. Always reach out to like 5, 10, 15, have a good amount of restaurants that you're reaching out to. That way, you have other options as well, and it doesn't really affect you when one just leaves you unseen, because say you reach out to 15 of them, one leaves you unseen, and the other 14 of them respond and they're willing to collaborate with you. Obviously, you want to focus on the places that want to collaborate right away, the ones that are responsive, the ones that are ready to go, right? The ones that are like leaving you unseen and stuff like that, obviously these are going to take a little bit longer. There's going to be a few more steps to take, and so you don't really want to put your focus too much on those. You want to focus on the ones that are ready to go, the ones that are active on social media, the ones that are ready to, really answer to whatever your proposal is. And so you want to focus on those. And if they're not responding, they're leaving you unseen, well then, you want to wait it out a little bit and let them kind of do their thing. And then once like maybe 1 or 2 days have passed, then you can go ahead and follow up and be like, hey, I saw that you read my message. So what do you think? Like maybe because things do happen. It's not always that they just saw the message and they weren't interested. It could be that they saw the message and then all of a sudden they didn't really know what to respond. Maybe you're the first person that actually reaches out to them. Proposing such a thing. Maybe they've never done a collab, so they don't really understand it, and so they might be a little bit hesitant or just plain out confused or scared to respond to it because they don't know what they might be signing up to, right? They don't know what they might be agreeing to. Another thing could be is that maybe it's the business owner themselves, the ones who are managing the account. They don't have a social media manager, and usually for the most part, business owners are usually stressed. They're usually going back and forth. They got so many things going on, and so this might be another thing now that they have to like schedule in, or like they have to work out the logistics of giving you a certain amount of food and then having you come in and then having you shoot whatever it is that you're going to shoot at the place. And so this might be just a little bit more things to add onto the already busy agenda that they have. And so they might just kind of put it to the side and be like, hey, I'll respond to that like, 2-3 days later, and who knows, maybe after that time period might actually pass and they just might forget about it and they just don't respond. And it's not that they didn't want to, it's just that they're just busy with other things, they have other priorities. And so they never really got to your message because they didn't know how to respond to it. And it's going to take a little bit of thinking from them, and they rather just use that thinking up to, they rather use that thinking juice for other areas of the business that could be a little bit more useful than using it with a collab such as yours, which I'm not saying that it's not important, but in their minds, it is not that important because they don't understand it. They don't understand the value, especially if they've never done it before. They don't see what this can do for their business. So they might just put it to the side. They might just put it as because business owners get approached all day, every day with like, it's not just you, the one who's going in there and offering promotion and offering to help them grow their business. There might be other people who might offer them the same things, other services that could help them. Maybe somebody else is offering them to run ads. Maybe you got people like Yelp, calling them that they can boost their sales if they sign up for like the Yelp Plus. I forgot what their service is, but there's a business site on Yelp where you can sign up and then they'll kind of like prioritize your profile and stuff and give you a little bit more visibility when it comes to the searches. When people search up certain things, certain keywords on Yelp, your restaurant is more likely to appear on a higher listing, and so that's always good. So there could be so many things that could be happening with this business owner, and so the best thing you could do is just follow up and be like, hey, did you get a chance to read it? Did you understand what I was trying to do? Like, can we proceed? Is there a specific day, time that, to take some initiative, try to help him out and be like, hey, is there a specific day and time that I can come by and we can make this collab happen? And so, by doing that, you're kind of helping them already. Like, okay, like this is what I need to do. I need to just approve a certain day and time for them to come in, and you can kind of break down exactly what you're going to do too, maybe and maybe not do it in such a fancy way either. I understand that you're reaching out to a business owner, you might want to take a professional approach and stuff, but if you're able to simplify it and make it a little bit easier, make the whole process easier and everything for them to just be able to understand what you're trying to do, and it doesn't take too much energy for them to think about what you're gonna do, and like there's not a lot of like steps and a lot of like confusion along the way. If you can just simplify it for them, that's even better, because they'll be more likely to move forward, as opposed to you just being all professional and trying to sound all fancy that you're gonna be doing all this and that, and then it just kind of confuses the owner, and then they just kind of don't want to proceed because they're like, oh man, like I don't understand this guy. I got other things that I need to do. I don't have time to be spending. I can't afford to spend time with this person because I don't understand what they want. Well, we're going back and forth. I don't get it. I'm just gonna move forward. I'm just gonna go and do whatever I need to do. And so yeah. So you need to take that approach. So you need to make sure that they understand what you're trying to do. So take that approach. So send that message. wait 1 or 2 days, send that message, see what happens. See, I even got messages coming through, and then people reminding me of stuff. I gotta go do this, that, and stuff. It's crazy. There's a lot of things going on, and so I'm even guilty of it, but I'll get into that in a little bit here, because stuff happens left and right, and sometimes I even end up ghosting foodies or people who reach out to me and they want to they want to work with me, right? And then I'm just like I don't get it, I don't get what you're trying to do, and even sometimes I don't have time to be spending to go back and forth with you, like if you don't understand what you're trying to do, how am I supposed to figure out what you're trying to do? You're the one who's trying to schedule the collab, you're the one who's trying to go in there. Simplify it for me, make it sound as simple as possible. That way, I'm more likely to proceed instead of having to make it sound like it's this big deal and it's like, it's going to be revolutionary or something. Like it's a big decision. I don't want to use up my decision-making juice on a decision that's really, really, really big, when in fact, it might not even be that big. It might be like kind of tiny. And so, but yeah, so do that. Now, if you send that follow-up message and they still leave you on scene, then at this point, I would suggest you leave it alone. I suggest that you stop. If you already send them a follow-up message and you simplified it and there's just nothing going on, no response at all, they're just leaving you on scene, then this is the time where you just stop. You move on to another restaurant. Not that you're going to ghost them, not that you're going to block them, not you're going to get mad at them, but here's the thing. You've already caught their attention. You've at least caught their attention because they've at least opened the message. That means that they've seen it. They're aware of you. They're aware of what you want. And if they continue to leave you on scene, that means that they're probably just not interested and they just have no way of just telling you. Or they just don't want to write it out. They're just lazy to write something out. They have the lack of professionalism to write something out, and they just kind of want to ghost you and they just want you to go away because they are not interested in doing the collab. Now, this doesn't mean that they're not interested in doing the collab forever. That just means that they're just not interested right now. So, like I said, it's always a good idea to have other restaurants that you're approaching because you can just move on to the next one. And there will always be the next one. Like, I want you to keep that in mind. There will always be more restaurants that you can collaborate with. So don't get stuck on one and be like, oh my God, I need to get this place. If I don't get this place, then I'm going to quit my journey of being a foodie or something like that. No. Okay. So there always is room for more. There's always more restaurants. And you always want to devote your time and energy to the ones, like I said, the ones that are ready to go, the ones that are willing already, the ones that are active, the ones that are engaging, the ones that are ready to give you that opportunity because you want to move forward. You want opportunities. You don't want to be going back and forth with a place that just isn't interested or that's just not being cooperative. You want to go with a place that's ready to go, that understands what is going on and is ready to have you. So that's basically it. When it comes to reaching out to restaurants, what do you do when they ghost? Just do that. And pretty much with anything else, and pretty much with the other people, I would say pretty much do something similar. If you're getting a foodie, you're trying to reach out to a foodie to maybe you want them to collaborate with one of your clients. Basically, send your message, right? Like, hey, my name is this. Look, I've seen your page. I like your content, and I like to invite you. I like to invite you to collaborate with my client here and explain to them exactly what they're going to be getting. So if it's only a collab where they're going to get free food, tell them like, hey, you're able to get like maybe there's like a certain food credit. So maybe you're like, hey, you're able to get $100 worth of food for this collab. In exchange, we just want a reel and stuff. You're able to bring a guest or you're able to bring 2 or 3 guests, whatever, whatever the terms are. And so you lay it out, you explain to them what's going on, and you just send that out. And so So what happens, right? You send it out, maybe they don't open it, right? If they don't open it and they're influencers, though, this is a different thing. Because, foodies and influencers, obviously their job is to be on social media. So there isn't that that factor as with the restaurant owner where it could be that they're not active. And that's more justified because, at the end of the day, they're a restaurant. Their main business is the restaurant. It's not the social media platform. It's the restaurant itself. And so it could be that they're inactive on social media, but when it comes to an influencer, somebody who makes a living out of their profile, obviously they're going to be active on their social media platform. So if you're reaching out to an influencer, a blogger, and they're not even opening them, it's very likely that they're just not interested in coming through to your place. That's just the end of it all. You don't even need to wait until they actually leave you on scene. If they leave you on scene, that's even a bigger I'm not interested times two, because if they took the time to even open it and then just leave it there, that means that they just they want you to know that, hey, I'm leaving you on scene, and don't ever reach out again because I'm not interested. And they're sending a message through that. They're letting you know through not responding to you that, hey, I am not interested. Don't ever reach out again. However, if they don't even open it at all, they might have actually read it, because you can read this. You can still read the messages to the request, and you can read it without them even knowing that you opened the message, that you even. And so they might have read it. They might have been like, you know what, I'm not interested in this place. I'm just gonna pass, right? And that might just be like a soft little, I'm not interested. And but like I said, if you reach out to a foodie, they're not responding, they're ghosting, I would just move on. I would just not really. I wouldn't continue sending messages over and over and over again, unless, of course, what you're doing here is that you're offering them like I said, you're offering them a collab where all you're giving them is food in exchange. So it could be that you could switch it up if you're able to offer them a paid collaboration, because once you offer a paid collaboration, a lot more influencers are more likely to open up that message and actually respond to you. But only do this if you're really willing to pay that person. But if you are willing to pay the influencer, just make that clear from the beginning. I wouldn't tell them or offer them money in order for you to get their attention. Because if you're not getting their attention just by sending them out a message, I think that personally, I think that's kind of disrespectful if they don't actually respond to you. Because here's the thing, they could open that message and respond to you and be like, hey, I appreciate you sending out the message. I appreciate you, being interested in me and liking my content and stuff. However, I'm only taking paid collaborations, and I've had food influencers respond that way to me, and I understand when they reach out like that. Okay, I can now see that they're looking for a paid collaboration, and perhaps right now that may not be available. That might not be possible. Maybe I don't have clients that can afford to pay influencers, but once I do, I can always reach back out to them and be like, hey, I do have a budget now. I am able to pay you, and then we can go from there. But if they don't respond, they don't even open the message, they don't even acknowledge you, and they don't have the professionalism to at least let you know why they're not interested, then I just wouldn't really insist, because like I said, there is no I missed the message, or I didn't see it in my inbox, or I'm getting too many of them. Believe me, if they're influencers and this is their thing, and being on social media is how they make a living, is how they move in life, is how they really this is what they do, you can best bet that they're on their social medias every single day. You can best bet that they're checking their inboxes, and I'm pretty sure they're checking their requests, because no matter how successful one can be on a social media platform, unless they're celebrities, everyone is checking, to see what opportunities are there for them. And so they're only opening the ones that they feel that they're fit for, or the ones that may align more with their brand, or that, at this point, who knows, maybe they're just looking for bigger brands to reach out to them, or maybe they're looking for a certain places that can actually afford their fee. And so if you're just reaching out, you're not meeting their fee, or you're just not meeting their standards as far as like what they're looking for, they're just going to ignore you, and they're just going to move on to the next spot that probably is offering them what they actually want. And so they're not always going to be straightforward with you as far as like what they're looking for. So ghosting seems to be the easiest way to really approach this kind of manner. And so unfortunately, that's kind of how it's going to go sometimes. And there's really nothing that you can do. You can control people, you can't force them to give you a response, and you should never have that in mind, that you want to force them to give you a response. You always just want to reach out, make sure that you're very clear as far as like what you're asking for. Make sure that everything is very simple and clear. As long as those two are in the message, there's really no reason for them not to reach out back to you, unless they're just not interested and they're being assholes for some reason that they just don't want to explain and be direct with you as far as like why they're not interested. And yeah, you just gotta move on. Like I said, numbers game as well. So make sure like they're not the only influencer that you're reaching out to. Reach out to other influencers. If you really want to make a move, reach out to the competitors. I mean, like every single influencer, I can assure you there's another influencer who does similar content that they do, and they're trying and they're trying to beat them out. And so while this influencer might not be willing to be interested in your offer, I can assure you that maybe the competitor is, and so you go with them and hire them. Whether you have to pay them, or maybe you have to give them a little bit of extra food, or whatever deal you have to make with them, but you go with the one that responds, because the one that responds is the one that actually wants to work things out. It's the one that's interested, the one that's willing to come to an agreement at the end of the day. And so those are the ones that you want to actually be talking to and going back and forth, not the ones that don't respond to you. You don't want to be figuring out and trying to see, okay, well, what kind of crafty message can I send in order to get their attention and make them open my message and stuff like that, because it is possible. I'm not going to lie to you. You could, if they are ghosting you in that way, where they're not responding, whether it's business owner, whether it's an influencer, at the end of the day, you could come up with little fancy messages that you can craft in order to get them to open the message. But it's not really worth it, because at the end of the day, believe me, you're going to have a bad experience with this person. I'm just telling you right now, they're not responding to you and you force them to respond. At the end of the day, it's not going to end well, and they might just end up ghosting you at the end of the day. And so you're going to end up in the same spot that you did at the beginning, and it's just all going to be a waste of time. So always just go with the people who are straightforward, the ones who are going to respond to you. Even if it's a harsh response, at least they're responding to you and they're being direct with you, and they're not just leaving you in the void, right? They're not just leaving you in silence and ghosting you. And another thing that I forgot to mention as far as like reaching out to restaurant owners is, maybe you are reaching out and they're ghosting you because you're doing you're trying to offer a paid collaboration. So you're trying to get them to pay you in order to do a collaboration, and perhaps they are ghosting you. Maybe they opened the message and they left you on scene after you told them that, hey, I'll come through. My rate is like $500 for one reel and this and that, right? And if that's the case, if they're ghosting you because you send your rate, you send this, it could be very possible that they just can't afford your rate. And so what you want to do is that if you do send out a message with your rate and you explain, like I said, it's very simple, it's very clear as far as like what you're going to provide and what you want in exchange, and they just leave you on scene, what I would do is same thing, wait 1 or 2 days and ask them directly. Ask them, like, okay, so I saw that you saw my message. So what do you think about working together? Is the rate that I put out there, is that something that you can work with? Just be very straightforward. And usually if you send them like a humbling message like that, where it's like, hey, is that something that you're able to work with? I'd like to know if that's the case. If not, I'd like to move on to the next restaurant, or I'd like to see if maybe in the future there's a possibility that we can work together. When you make a statement, when you make a message that's humbling in that sense, then what ends up happening is that the owner's much likely to respond and be like, okay, you know what? Yeah, you know what? You're right. I can't work with that right now. Look, I'm having expenses here and there. I'm planning to open a new location, or maybe I'm overstaffed, or, it's been kind of a hard time right now. Maybe some sort of situation outside of your control is happening, and so maybe the business is losing a little bit of money here and there, and so they're not able to they're not able to cover your fee. So when you ask them directly, they might respond with you with that. But if they continue to ghost you, like I said, maybe they just can't afford your rate, but they just don't have a way of telling you, or they're just lazy enough to tell you, or they just don't have, they just don't think it's worth telling you. Like, they just don't think it's like you're just not worth of a response, like they're just being dicks about it. And so you just gotta move on. If that's the case, just move on. Like I said, always have more restaurants that you can reach out to, and there will be restaurants who will be able to cover your fee, and you just work with those. And make sure you give those, the ones that are able to cover your fee, make sure you give them the best of you, give them the best value, make sure you give them really good work, because at the end of the day, if you are charging, then you should be giving work that looks at a higher level than somebody who's doing it for free. That's always really the mentality that I've taken when somebody charges, and I'm going to be talking about that in a second here. But yeah, that's pretty much what you do. Same thing if you're a foodie and you're trying to reach out to another foodie in order to just collaborate with them. Maybe you want to make a video with them and stuff. Same thing. Reach out, simple, clear. Let them know what you want to do, what kind of collab you want to do. There's a specific restaurant you want to go to, a specific type of way you guys want to make content together. Let them know. And like I said, this also goes the same way as with the influencer. If you're reaching out to another foodie, most likely they're going to be very active on social media. So if they don't respond to your message, or they leave it unseen, take it as a grain of salt here, but they're most likely not interested in collaborating with you. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, you won't be able to collaborate with every single influencer out there, with every single foodie. Some foodies just are not interested in collaborating with you. They're not interested in collaborating with nobody. As a matter of fact, maybe they just want to go solo. That was really me at the beginning of my journey. I didn't want to collaborate with nobody. I just wanted to go at it solo. And so I turned down a lot of potential group collaborations that I was invited to events. I just turned them down because I didn't want to be part of it, because I just wanted to go on my own. I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to, I really wanted to hone what it's like to be a foodie, and I wanted to learn every single process of it. And for me, the best way to really do that was to go at it alone, to be able to go to the collaborations by myself, to be able to talk to the business owners, to be able to really understand the whole process on my own. And then once I really was comfortable just doing it on my own, and I really understood it to a level where I was really, really comfortable, where I could just walk in and I wasn't nervous at all anymore, and I wasn't really like in my head anymore. I could just step in like right now, I could just go and do a collab with any single restaurant right now. I wouldn't even care. I would know exactly what to do. I wouldn't be nervous, and I could execute some really, really good content, and I wouldn't be stifled. I wouldn't be confused. Why? Because I've done it so many times. I've done this repetitively, and it's so ingrained in my mind now. It's so ingrained in my brain, the process, the system, everything I need to do, that I could just go and it's mindless. I could just go and perform. And believe me, there's days where I've shot so much, and I could still continue shooting for the rest of the day. And believe me, sometimes when I get in the zone, I could just start shooting, and there's just nothing that could stop me. So believe me, I've done my work, I've done my part. But that's not every foodie. That's not every foodie. Some foodies really enjoy doing it with other people. And so if you're someone like that, then you need to find other foodies that are similar in that aspect, that also like to do food content creation with other people, and really associate yourself with those. There's nothing wrong with like you want to go at it solo, or you want to go at it, as a community and stuff. I still interact with the community. It's not that I'm like apart from it, or it's not like I just don't want to be part of it, or I hate it or anything. But at the same time, like, I'm not stuck to it. I'm not like what do you call it? I'm not tied to it. I don't need it. It's not like I need other food influencers to be present with me in order for me to like perform or to be able to do a collaboration. Like, I don't need anybody else. I can go at this by myself, but if there's somebody else there who wants to collaborate, I'm always willing to give that a chance and explore it and see where it goes, because that's always a new experience as well, working with someone else and stuff like that. So yeah. So reach out to them, make it clear. If they respond, cool, go at it. If they respond, you're halfway in there, they just stop responding, just know that they just probably weren't interested from the beginning, and they were just trying to see if maybe they got convinced along the way, but it just wasn't meant to be, and just move on. Yeah, like I said, move on to more compatible foodies that may be more willing to collaborate with you. So there's that. Now let's move on to the second topic. Actually, this topic took quite a while, but so the second topic is about charging. So, like I said, it's pretty ridiculous. Like, there's some foodies. Oh man, there's some of you some of you are charging ridiculous amounts of prices. Like, you guys are ridiculous. You guys are charging a ridiculous price. Like, it's just crazy. It's mind-boggling. Like, I am in denial of the numbers that I'm seeing, right? Like, I'm just like, I can't believe it. I really can't believe you're charging that much. Like, really, like, I feel like some of you that are charging, you guys have never put yourself in the shoes of the business owner and looked at yourselves and be like, hey, would I pay for myself? Like, would I pay for myself if I was charging this much? Say, you say you're charging what you're charging, right? Say you're the business owner now. Would you hire yourself to do what you're gonna do, and pay yourself what you're charging? Like if you were the business owner and you were hiring someone like yourself and they were charging you what you're charging them, would you pay that? Like, would you actually pay that? And I can assure you, most influencers are gonna say no. They wouldn't pay. They wouldn't pay their own fee. And and of course they wouldn't pay their own fee because they're not worth it. They're not worth their own fee. And it's crazy because I feel like some of these people, they're not really aware of what the current rate is and what the rate is supposed to be, depending on what you're able to offer. So obviously you have to have a certain amount of value to provide if you're going to even start charging to begin with. Because like I was saying in the beginning of the video, some of you guys are charging where you guys don't deserve to be charging. There is no reason why you should be charging. There is just no value that you're providing that says, hey, I need to start charging because this and that, right? There's just nothing. There's nothing. The only reason you're charging is because you heard from somewhere. Maybe you heard on this podcast in some of the earlier episodes, or maybe you heard from your friend. You heard from somebody that, hey, did you know you can charge for your collabs? And you were like, oh, really? And then you went, and then you were like, you know what? I'm going to start charging for my collabs too, right? And so now you're starting to charge for your collabs, and there's no reason to. Besides the fact that, your friend is over there charging, your other friend is charging as well, and now you think that you can make money as well just because these other people are making money. And sure, that's a valid reason, sure, but at the same time, it's a bad one. It's a bad reason. It's not really the reason that I would really suggest that you start charging. Like I said, first and foremost, the biggest indicator of, at least for me, if you should even start charging is, does your content perform better than the ones that are doing it for free? So you need to go around. You need to see who's doing it for free, who is doing content for free out here, and you need to be able to compare yourself. Okay, so how do I stack up to the people that do it for free? I am one of those people that does it for free. I don't always charge. The reason, there are specific occasions where I do charge, but for the most part, I don't. And so, because I really like to see how I stack up to the people that do charge, and if the people who do charge, are outperforming me as far as like in views, followers, quality, whatever, connections. Maybe they're able to get another big influencer in their video while I can't. Maybe they're able to afford a videographer in their video where I can't. If they're able to do all these things, then of course I can see the value. I can see why they're charging what they're charging. But some of you are just creating mundane content that doesn't really look good. It doesn't really perform that well. The quality is just really bad. And especially me coming from a filmmaker, I like to look at the quality. I like to look at how much attention to detail there is as far as like the way things are shot, the way things look, the sequence of the shots. Like, do they connect? Do they look good? One really good indicator is taking a video and just pausing it anywhere throughout the video. And then once you pause it, does that frame that you pause the video in, does that frame look good as a picture? That's usually like my indicator. And for the most part, it's not. Like sometimes I'll stop the video in a random place and that frame looks very bad. And why is that? And if it looks bad, that means that is a bad shot. That means that you shouldn't be shooting the way that you are. Maybe it's off center. It's not really highlighting the focus of the video. Maybe you're a little bit to the right, to the left. There's too much movement in the shot where you should be steady, or maybe there is a lack of movement. It's too still where you should be moving. You should be doing some sort of pan, maybe zooming in. You should be doing some sort of movement, or maybe you should not be doing any movement at all, and you're moving a little too much. And so you need to see these things. You need to see and these are the things that I see. And sometimes the shots just don't make sense. And I'm just like, why? Why? Why are you shooting this way? If you're going to shoot this way, if you're going to be shooting this way, then I don't see why you should be charging, because you clearly don't have any knowledge or experience as far as how to shoot. And so, well, why should they even be paying you? And then the only reason why, and this is the reason why I see most people are charging, is because of their engagement and their followers. This is really it. There's very few content creators, and I know a lot of them, and I can say with confidence, there's only a handful of content creators that I know that should be getting paid and are worth what they charge. And they have really good quality as far as the content goes. The shots are great. The execution of the shots is also very good. So it's not just about taking good shots, but it's about putting them in the correct sequence as well, where it makes the video engaging. So that's good. It doesn't look like the shots are all mixed up and stuff. Why is that one there? What's that one doing there? That shot shouldn't even be in the video. So they get that right. They get the sequence of shots correctly. If they're doing voiceovers, the voiceovers are excellent. Everything is well explained, and the visuals, everything's good. The video is color graded, which is another thing that I really love to see, because it really makes the colors pop. And it's not like you're just uploading the video raw, but you're actually paying attention to the colors and making everything stand out as far as the color goes. And everything good, the quality, and like I said, the voiceover. If you're in the video, there's a good portrayal of you in the video as well, so you are placed correctly in the video. It's not like you stand out in some way, shape, or form where it looks like something's off about you being in the video. So you being in the video, it fits in well as well. So I've only seen a few content creators that get all that combo correctly. And so those, I applaud them. I think they deserve to be charging. The rest of you, I just don't see it because I feel like you just haven't mastered all the elements that come with actually charging. Now, you obviously, like once you master all of these elements, obviously that gives you permission to charge more and more, right? So if you have if you mastered the art of gaining a lot of followers, now, okay, you can charge a little more because that is a skill set, to be able to attract an audience that build a brand and a profile that's able to attract new followers. If you're able to grow the number of views, that means you've mastered the art of, making your videos engaging and interesting enough for people to play them over and over again and make them go viral and make people share those videos and just get a lot of views. So that's another skill set. If you've mastered the skill set of making it visually appealing, so everything from the shots to the voiceover to the color grading, that takes practice in of itself as well. So that is another skill set. And then just being able to put together all of that all together. And being able to put yourself in the video as well. So if you're able to, dress properly or like position yourself in the place in the restaurant where you look good and the food looks good as well, that's another thing too that takes some practice and skill sets. So once you're able to do all that, and then you look appealing as well, so you have some sort of charisma in there, so you make the video and everything, you make the food and yourself pop at the same time. So that's always a good delivery. So if you're able to master all those things, I think that's where you're able to charge the high amounts. If you're able to master a few of them, then I think you are. If you're able to master even a few of them, you are entitled to charge at least something. But there's some creators out there who I've seen that they've mastered none, like none. Like maybe you're like good at it, but you're not like great. You're not like elite level where you should be charging. Like you just haven't gotten to that level yet. So I don't understand why you're charging the way that you're charging, because you just haven't made it there. It's just not good. It's just not good enough. And so that's just my thing. That's just my opinion. Obviously, there's going to be restaurant owners out there that are still going to pay the fee anyway, because at the end of the day, there isn't that many content creators out there, that can make good, or at least be able to commit to making it. There isn't a lot of content creators out there who are able to commit to come and do a collab at a restaurant. Like the free ones, sure, they're free, but at the same time, because it's free, the commitment is not as high. And so as opposed to somebody who's going to be getting paid, like if a content creator, you reach out to them and they have a fee, usually if you're able to cover their fee, you're able to have them come through a lot faster. You're able to have them come through that same week, and then you're able to have them deliver the content a little bit faster as well, because at the end of the day, they're getting paid, so they're more likely to put in a little bit more effort into that, as opposed to if you're doing it for free. Sure, you might be able to get those people to come in through for free, but it might take like 2-3 weeks. Maybe they come like next month, and then they take like a whole nother month in order to do the turnaround of the content, and then like it's just a lot of wait. And so I personally, like as a social media manager, I do prefer to reach out to content creators who do charge, even if it's a little pricey, but I'm able to work with them. I'm able to pay them, and I'm able to kind of get things done a little faster, because like I said, I think speed is really important. And so if you're able to, get them into the restaurant as soon as possible and then get them to upload that content, the better for you, the better for me, because, I'm a social media manager. My job is to make the restaurant, make the social media pages grow. And so, the faster I'm able to get this influencer in the door, make the content and publish it, the faster I'm able to get that attention and extract the value out of the influencer, as opposed to calling all these free ones that yes, they're free, I'm not paying them, but at the end of the day, I don't really have much control over them, because I'm not paying them, so I can't really instruct them to do much besides just inviting them and giving them whatever food I promised them, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I can only hope that they make good content and that they make content that looks at least decent and that they post it in a decent amount of time, and it doesn't take like a month or two, But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts as far as like charging goes. Those are my metrics that I would really check as far as like, should you charge or should you not? At the end of the day, foodies are going to do whatever they want. They're going to charge. They're not going to charge. Whatever. That's basically it. That's basically the end of today's episode. It went a little long. I thought it was going to go short, man. It took like a whole hour and shit. But yeah, it was a lot to go through. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching today's episode. Make sure you subscribe to the Foodie Filmmaker. Make sure you follow me at the Foodie Filmmaker on Instagram. Make sure you follow the podcast Instagram, tff.podcast. Make sure you share the podcast with your friends and everybody. And if you liked it, make sure you give it a like. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode.